All right, y'all. So I just left Car Toys, so the guy was kind of getting upset, and he. Okay, so this is how it went. Yesterday, I went to Outrageous Audio to get a quote from them about installing um, a touchscreen audio device, stereo in my vehicle. But then, okay, so Outrageous Audio, they gave me a decent. Well, they gave me a quote that was like supposed to be $731. So I said, okay, thank you. And that was supposed to be, that was including everything, the install, them creating a USB port, because it would have been cheaper for me to get the Sony stereo one. But then me and the guy were talking and we saw that it made a better example. I mean, more sense, like as far as to deter people from, basically deter people from doing theft on my vehicle if they look in it, because I told him there's a situation that's going on. Basically, it was the gang stalking, but I didn't want to say that. I was like, well, there's some stuff going on in where I live. There's people who knows about what I'm trying to do, and they know what I'm trying to do, and they're trying to wait and watch. And I just don't feel like them trying to break a window to take something out of my vehicle, because they don't care about no freaking alarm. They will get gone. That, like how ruthless these people are. They'll probably break in the car. Don't care about no alarm. Once they break the window, they trying to get up in that mug real quick to remove whatever they're trying to remove, like the stereo or whatever. So I was thinking, like me and Alan and I were speaking, and we just decided that it looked more factory to have like a touchscreen, because it looked more flush, like when the lights are off in the car and the car's parked and it's dark outside or whatever, and the windows are tinted, so it looked like more factory instead of like somebody purchasing aftermarket um, stereo system that appeals to a thief's eyes, so that will entice them to want to break the window. So it made more sense to get the touchscreen one, because it was flush with the car stereo, and if someone looked in, they'll be like, oh, it's just like a touchscreen. But I think people will still try to attempt to steal a touchscreen as well. But so anyways, I got the quote. I had a great conversation with Mr. Allen at Outrageous Audio, and then I left. But then I thought about, I had spoke to Travis first at Car Toys in Jensen Beach. So like, he's a nice guy, single dad. But the thing is, there was a deal that was going on at Car Toys. I had previously gotten a quote and talked to him about getting something to install, and it was about around between 518 and 630 something, but I can't remember. I think that was with just the regular stereo. But Car Toys, I heard from my ex that they mark things up. They mark their products up to make money off of what they sell. So like, for instance, if they went to China, not went to China, but ordered stuff from, example, Alibaba or AliExpress, and then marked it up, like if they bought it for 100 or 150, but they charge 150 extra, and then the product winds up being $300 at their store, which makes sense. Like, they're in the business to make money, so I understand that. But so, anyways, I got a quote again for a touchscreen. I actually was gonna go get the quote to remember what he quoted me for the other stereo, and he said he and I both agreed. Travis and I at Car Toys both agreed that it made more sense for me to just go full all out and get like a touchscreen stereo in my vehicle versus the regular stereo with the knobs and stuff, because it was cheaper stereo, but with the installation and stuff, it was still costing around the same amount it would cost for me to just go ahead and get a touchscreen. So it was just maybe a few bucks more, 50 to 100 or 100 and something dollars more. So I was like, might as well go all out and get the touchscreen. So but when I went back into Car Toys after getting a quote from Outrageous Audio, when I originally got a quote from Car Toys first, I was just shopping around to see which one. I haven't even gone to Stereo King, and just the sound of it and the looks of it just deterred me away from them, because they already looked like they were going to try to be outrageously expensive anyway. So to me, Stereo King is like the in between. If they're not, like, they could be cheaper, they could be lesser. Like, I mean, they could be cheaper, they could be more expensive. So anyways, I decided I wasn't going to go check out Stereo King. What I probably should have. That's the only place I haven't checked out. But so I'm just telling this story because so I went yesterday to Car Toys to talk about the original quote for just the simple deck inside of to have installed in the car. But he told me, I no, he didn't say anything. He was busy with a customer, and he said, "I'll be right with you." He even forgot that I was in the store, and when I was getting like walking out, like about to walk by the door, he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then he forgot that I was in there. But I had went to go in one of the rooms where the other stereo systems were, and I saw that they had a promotion, a birthday bash deal for the company being, I guess, running for 35 years or something like that. And I'm 32, so yeah, I said it the right way this time. My birthday was yesterday, so and it was just weird because I saw that they had a promotional deal that said if you get the Android Auto or the Android Play or Apple Play stereo, you get free installation and a free backup camera. But then when I saw that deal, I changed. I was like, well, how much would it be for me to get this deal here? Because it's free installation. Because with installation at Outrageous Audio, the original price came up to $731, but they sliced it in half and then charged me a cheaper price. I don't even think the guy gave me back the paper quotes that I had from them so that I can't come back because he was upset. But I don't care about that, um, Mr. Wilder. But because I still remember what the quotes were in my head. So he had took them. He was like, "Well, I don't get it. What are you trying to say?" He kept both of the paper quotes. I guess he's trying to make a comparison. It didn't even click in his mind what I was trying to say, because he couldn't quite grasp what I meant, because he was saying that he is his job to make a sale, so he's not upset at all. But he did get upset the way he talked to me. His tone of voice started changing, and it's understandable to get a little bit emotional about a sale, because then he probably was going to get a bonus, and I get that. I totally get that. But I had to do what was best for me and what I described. And then the other guy that was standing there, the other guy there, he was pretty handsome. He had like, he looked kind of like he was Hispanic, and he had like his hair kind of combed over and then had the earrings in. He was an older man, probably between 35, 45 years old, and a little bit more stocky and heavier set, but he was a handsome ass man. When I seen him, I was like, maybe I would have made went ahead and bought it. But sorry about that. I ain't even tell him. But anyways, the quote from Outrageous Audio was $731 with the installation included. So I was thinking, if I went to Car Toys and I saw that promotional deal they had for the birthday bash deals, and it was my birthday yesterday, I said, well, how much would it be for me to go ahead and get one of these Apple CarPlay, whatever you call it, Apple Play and Android, whatever it's called. Because and then he told me the installation is free for the stereo, but not for the backup camera. And then he showed me that they had other selections that did not have a backup camera, or I could just remove and just say forget about the backup camera option if I didn't need it. Because in my car, it makes a beep noise, and it lights up in the back when I get too close to objects anyway. So I was like, well, no need to be more fancy and add a backup camera in it when this car, I consider it like an older used car, even though people still say it's a nice car, but it's a 2005. So I mean, and I'm satisfied with what I have right now, because if people get in their feelings and want to be a hater or try to, like back when gang stalkers was trying to crash my cars, that the car is kind of older and it's more sturdy, and it has like just a few scratches already on one side. So that means, like, if somebody got an attitude and tried to scratch like a little line in the car, I wouldn't get upset, because I'd be like, oh, you just in your feelings. But if it was a newer car and they scratched, I would be highly upset, especially if I'm paying insurance and got to make those insurance payments on a newer car. No, not right now. I ain't trying to live like, I ain't trying to flex on somebody. But anyways, they Travis at Car Toys gave me a quote for no installation with the touchscreen deck for Android Auto or whatever. I keep saying Android Auto. That might be what it is. And Apple CarPlay. So it wind up still being the same amount, $730 something dollars. So that was crazy. I already knew when I took the quote papers in there, he might want to take them from me. I could go back over there and say, give me back those quote, at least the one for Outrageous Audio. But he'd probably be like, oh, I trashed them already. He's keeping them. I know they're going to talk crap about me because he didn't get it what I was saying yet, and I'm about to get to that part. But anyways, it came up to being around the same amount. And then I was like, well, it's my birthday today, and I was wondering if you I was trying to make a deal and negotiate with him if they can cut it down. He was like, well, I'm giving you a deal already with the he said he cut it off to $50, but I'm like, to me that wasn't that much of a deal because it still came up to be the same amount as outrageous audio, with the installation being allegedly free. And so I guess, anyways, so outrageous audio charged $731. They sliced it in half, and the price I remember they put it at was like $674 when they gave me a break. And Car Toys gave me a break from $731 and put it down to I think six. Uh, it was another price, but he went down. He tried to act like they only took about $5 or $6 off of it when I made a negotiation with them. It's because he said he already took off $50. So he took it down just $5 more, and then that was hilarious. He told me 665. So 731, that at outrageous audio was cut into 674 for me. Car Toys was 731 cut into 665, but he still he randomly went up $2.50, well, to almost $3, pretty much $3. It was 5 cents shy from $3 more than what he told me. He's charged me 665, but when I went to pay the payment with my card, he said, okay, that'll be 667.95. And I knew that there was a $2 and change difference. So I was like, what was, I said, was I paying tax? And I apologized to him for seeming like I was being such a stickler about every single dollar amount. But if you tell me one price, and even if you just go up $2 and not and 95 cents more, I'm wondering, what am I being charged for? Because that wasn't told to me before I made this payment. What if I didn't have that extra $3 on there? Excuse me. So anyways, he was like, oh my gosh, yes, you're right, I apologize, I did tell you 665. So he went in his wallet and gave me $3 back. So, okay, I made the payment. It was sealed. The deal was sealed. For me, made a payment for $665 to have them install a deck in my car for the Apple, with the Apple iPlay, the Apple CarPlay, and the Android Auto, whatever it is, touchscreen stereo deck. So I went home after I made that payment, and it just dawned on me that the so-called deal that I got from Car Toys still rounded up to about the same amount of money. It was just like $9 or $10 shy from what Outrageous Audio was charging me with the installation included, with making the USB port for me. So I was like, so that I can charge my phone and plug it in. And I was like, that didn't make sense. Like, that wasn't really much of a deal then, because if their installation was supposed to be free at Car Toys versus the installation being charged along with the other parts and stuff included at Outrageous Audio, and it still was like only $9 shy, that wasn't much of a deal. So I was like, fuck it. And then I realized about these motherfuckers out here wanting to see me fail and wanting me to lose money. I said, I'm not gonna make no stupid financial I was about to say financial choices right now, where I'm putting out money that's for something that's not really that important right now. That doesn't even make sense. I have a 2-year-old son. Anything can happen with these MFers out here trying to gain stock and fuck with me and doing all they little spell where I started remembering back then, back in 2022, when I was always dropping and losing things and I didn't know what it was, because what was going on, I thought it was just my luck at the time, but people were doing spill work. How I found out is because when that started happening again, I started seeing return to sender when a guy was walking around in the store following behind me, and I was dropping things out of my that I was carrying. I was like, that didn't make any sense, and he was wearing all black. So, anyways, after I realized, it dawned on me what was happening. I said, return to sender with energetic. It was something energetic. And I know this part sounds like too far fetched and like woo woo. Like, what do you call that stuff? What people call it? It starts with the S, like suspense, but I almost had it. But, anyways, it's like my brain got stuck. I just can't stop unless I figure out what that word is. Like, what do they call that word? I can't remember at this moment. It's like I know some of y'all right now know what I'm talking about, but I just can't remember. I'll remember it a little bit later. But anyways, I had said return to sender, and the guy who was, I figured who it was, one, it was either one of two people. And as soon as that guy walked by me, when I said return to sender, he dropped his keys right by me, and then he looked like he was annoyed, and then he went and bent down slowly and just scraped up his keys, and then he finally stopped following me around in the store. I was like, damn. And then the same thing happened at another place where a guy was trying to play around with me, and like he was asking me questions about wanting to exchange. He wanted to make his till right, but he asked me if I could give him $10 or if I wanted to buy some quarters or basically. And then he started dropping quarters, like he was shaking and he was like dropping quarters. So anyways, when that kind of stuff happened back then, and I recalled what happened and why it was happening, because I had stopped smoking marijuana completely back then at that time for a little bit, because so I tried to just smoke cigarettes so I don't go. Oh no, I didn't stop smoking cigarettes yet at that time, but I didn't. There was some weed I had at my storage, but I didn't make it there yet. So instead of trying to rely on smoking marijuana, I had went and bought a pack of cigarettes, because ever since I was 19, now and then I would smoke cigarettes, but I would never smoke them properly. But I was under a little bit like enough stress that I went to go get some pack of cigarettes. So I would smoke them, and then the time that I just bought that pack of cigarettes, somehow magically I dropped it and didn't realize it, and it was gone. And then when I looked back and I turned back to go where I was headed, I realized the pack of cigarettes weren't there anymore. So someone was following me and they got it. And it happened with other things that just magically fell out of the stroller. And then as soon as I would turn back, when I realized that it was gone, it was gone. Like that someone came and got it. So then it dawned on me what was happening back then. People were doing spell work, and people think that spell work don't have some sort of power to it, but you can have power and cancel it out and send it back. But anyways, that's not what this was about. I just said that because that remembering that stuff happening along with the gang stalking is what made me decide to keep as much money as possible in my bank account. Like I told the dude at Car Toys out, when I said this, that's when he said, okay, that makes way more sense. You guys see how all of a sudden there's just planes flying? That's just crazy. That never really happens. And I know why it's happening, because it's something that happened before I start making this video about the shut up spells and the anyways. But anyways, I just wanted to show how um well, anyways, Travis was getting kind of upset. He changed his tone of voice with me a little bit, and I told him, I understand you getting upset because you were about to make this sale and this deal, and I came in here. It was supposed to be golden. I paid it in full yesterday. I wasn't doing no payment plan. I just took care of it, and then all of a sudden you see me come back in there, and I change my mind. So if I go back there to go buy it from him, he'll be like, "Oh, so are you sure you're not going to change your mind this time? You sure that's done?" So if I do decide to go back and buy a stereo in the future, then I'll make sure I go there early enough where I can pay for it and have it done that same day, so that he can't say that shit. Like, you're not gonna change your mind, because he's that kind of individual. I could tell. I've only met him like 3 times, but I can tell. I can already get a gist of what his personality is like what his character is like. So and I'm sure there's still more. He rejected. I tried. He gave me the $3 he gave me out of his pocket. I tried to be courteous and give him $6 back, double for. And then he got upset. He was like, "No, I'm not worried about it. Just keep it. I don't need it." And I guess he was just trying to say, well, if you didn't need the $6 to me, you didn't need that $665 that was coming out of my account either. Then so, and then he was like, I'm just curious, why are you just all of a sudden don't want to do it? And I said, I was gonna say, before he rudely kept cutting me off and interrupting me, he would have known why, because I was trying to explain to him, and even after I finally explained it to him, he still didn't get it. He was like, I don't get it. He said, but they're charging you installation just like we're charging you installation. I was like, that's my point. You get it? He didn't even get that. He just said that out of his mouth. But I was like, if the installation was supposed to be free, shouldn't it have been less than what Outrageous Audio was charging? So I'm like, if y'all niggas is that expensive, I didn't say that part to him. In my mind is what I was. This was what was going through. I was like, if they motherfucking ass is that just as expensive, if they that expensive with a deal, they probably even more expensive, and they ain't even all that like that. They don't. And then that's why he was like, "What's the vibe that you got from those guys over there?" Even though the vibe was a bit better at that Car Toys, that don't mean that y'all finna charge me for your vibe. You supposed to just charge me for what you doing to my car, the product and the installation and whatever parts. They trying to get creative and charge me for the vibe. Get it, y'all? But it just made he didn't I get it why he was a little bit frustrated. He wasn't upset, so I should have said, I get it, you're not upset, you're probably frustrated or maybe disappointed or maybe disgruntled, I don't know. But his tone of voice started changing with me, and then I started changing my voice, and when he kept talking over me, then I started continuing my sentences, because I was like, well, if he's talking over me and I'm trying to explain to him what happened, I'm gonna start making sure my point is clear. Then I saw the other handsome guy look over. He was like, "Oh, she ain't playing her out." I wasn't very disrespectful, but my tone of voice became more firm with him, and I wasn't disrespectful. I still kept it professional in there. I didn't curse him out or anything. That was uncalled for. No need for that. But I was just trying to get him to realize, like, you're over here getting frustrated. I'm making a deal. I'm making a decision that is best for me. I told him, I started telling him how it was, I'm not about to pay a lump sum of money out, a good chunk of money out for something that's not that important, just so I'm not finna be trying to pay money to be flexing on people with some booming music up loud, when I can rather have that money still in my account for any emergencies that happen. I learned from my financial mistakes, the poor choices I've made in the past, even from the other bigger check that I got. I was like, I started calculating where money had went to see how much money I was spending and how did it get to the amount of money that it was at. And then I was like, okay, so the some purchases that was a bit larger, I understand those were still important for me. There was like investments in myself that will trickle over to being an investment in my son as well, so those were okay. But some of the ones, like eating out here, eating out there, like, I needed to cut that down. I did that. I was basically managing my finances, and then I saw that some purchases, even though I just because I have the money available to go and get something, doesn't mean necessarily that I have to go get it. And this is the problem with a lot of people and of my ethnicity, that we make is like, we be wanting to stunt and flex on people and be like, hey, I got the money, do it, let's go do it. Some people, they get to the point where they go do some major illegal stuff, like making sacrifices and stuff just to get money. And that's why I look at stuff differently now. Just like I saw this man in a nice behind regular car. It was like Acura, but it was a nice car. But I was like, you, even though that car is a newer car, it still was kind of basic though. But the name, because it has a prestige, like if somebody bought a Lexus or something. It's not like a Lamborghini or a Bugatti or nothing like that, but it still has some sort of prestige to it. And it was a newer car, but I was looking at it and looking how it still looked in my eyes, still kind of basic for whatever amount of money he might have paid for it. I was like, no, you never know what somebody might have did to acquire the materialistic items that they've gotten to look like they're doing something big in front of somebody's face. But when you find out what the hell they did to get it, you be like, you lame, no good, blah blah blah. I don't want to get into being so negative with all the name calling too much all the time. So, but you guys can fill in the blanks. But that's part of the reason why I don't get so caught up in that, because I thought about this type of stuff years ago. That's why I became more content with just being grateful for what I do have. I'd be like, the car I'm having now, it has a Hemi engine. The person that I bought it from was my ex, and he fucked it up because he tried to sabotage it. It's because of him that the I was trying to go buy something else, because he fucked up the other one. Robert, little bitch ass nigga, just because he think he a OG. And I found out from some readings that I was correct, that he thought that if he left me behind after fucking my shit up, I was gonna need him and he will be having the upper hand, that I'm gonna probably try to come crawling back to him. No, fuck you, nigga, you done. You the nigga that keep coming back trying to get in my life. Tosa, you need some company tonight, nigga. What the hell make you think I need your company first and foremost? I don't need your company. Take your ass on to the raggedy other Neanderthal woman that you using up a storm, and she have a low self-esteem to allow you to keep doing her the way you doing her, and think that she being loved, and thinking that she doing something because she think that she keeping you from me, when in reality you really want to be over here with me, but you tolerating her because she doing whatever to keep you around. probably for some of that D too. And in my opinion, his D ain't all that. But anyways, so that's why I'm like, go ahead and take a girl. You have fun, baby. Because he still be trying to hit my line. I blocked his behind. I'm like, nah, don't be coming over here calling me. Like you, I know, and I can feel it spiritually. He not too long ago left her house, and he coming up trying to come over there with me. I don't want the nasty ass energy over here with me. Bye, gone on. So yeah, it's because of his punk ass why I don't have this. In some other video I talked about him and some other times, like he I was buying the car was in a good condition when I was purchasing it from him, so I tried to complete my end of the deal, and I'll never do business with another nigga like him again. And I'm almost thinking not to do business with street black men, period, because they like to just mistreat the same way how they mistreat black women in relationships. They do it on the business side too. So I don't really deal with them too much. The only person I would stand to do business with is if part of his organization is Hellraiser of the Malachian Empire, because that man, he's on another level up here and in here, so I could trust a lot, and he has trust issues too. So in a weird way, when I see people like him, I deal with people like him who have trust issues, because I know that they'll think twice and they'll go with their discernment before they make some sort of decision, and they might be a bit more ethical when it comes to business versus these street niggas out here that want the attention of a Caucasian woman for them to feel like they got some sort of status. Excuse me. And that's all it really boils down to. Because the darker woman is looked down upon, that's what they say. But that's how they have it set up in society. But yeah, this was just me basically venting about the situation where the dude kind of got upset and he didn't understand where I was coming from. Travis in the car toys, he didn't understand where I was coming from when I was wanting my money back, because I'm like, well shit, if I'm not really getting a deal out of this anyways, and outrageous audio is supposed to be a cheap place to go get stuff done, but I'm like, I still feel like I was being ripped off in some kind of way. And even though they say that the installation wasn't included, they was sneaking it in there some kind of way, because them prices was still the same amount as outrageous audio, with their installation not being free or discounted from from a promotional deal. Like, how was their amount of money, I mean the quote they gave me with the installation included? And when I said it comes with the installation included, I guess Travis didn't understand what I was saying was, you guys at Car Toys were saying that the installation was not included. But that being said, outrageous audio including the installation, it was at one price. You guys at Car Toys not including the installation was at nearly the same price, $9 to $10 shy. So I'm like, what kind of deal is that? I'm getting my money back. Don't even, I started to feel like I wasn't really getting the deal. This dude was just trying to do sales, and that was good. I understand you when you're selling, but it's up to the buyer if they want to bite on that sale that you put out there as bait. I don't have to. This no process of installation was started yet, so run me my money. So, and then I told him, well, he got upset. I'm about to end this now, but he said something about, like, I don't understand. He started questioning me again. He was like, oh well, that's all I wanted to know, that's all I was asking. And because I started explaining to him, like, about how it wasn't feasible to be chucking out money for something that wasn't really that important when I have a 2-year-old son. And I know what's going on in my mind about the gang stalking and stuff. I need to make sure I have money, because I ain't got time to be going through those struggles like I was back in 2022 and part of 2023, when they was fucking with my money. And because I can tell they were, because IRS, I don't know how I wound up getting that much money back, and how I overpaid taxes. How does that happen when I wasn't barely even really working? Because I had only worked for just a few months at 2 different jobs. I was working 2 jobs at the same time. And I was like, how did I overpay taxes when I did my taxes like I always usually do? And then I instantly start thinking about how the tax money, a lot of tax dollars go to gang stalkers. So some of that money that they was using to gang stalk me, I guess God gave it back. Like, here you go, baby. They thought they was doing something. And thank you so much. I appreciate y'all, my ancestors, and the Most High God, and the Galactic Federation that's working on my side. And I know they is because randomly one time a lady came to the train station to talk about something involving the Galactic Federation. I had it recorded. That's why they took my phones, because I had too much stuff recorded about this gang stalking. I had too much proof. That's why now they feeling bold to start coming on my lives. I mean, not my lives, my videos, and talk about, oh, whatever you're smoking, you need, please stop. And oh, you sound like welcome to schizophrenia, and you must have a sad life. I'm like, nigga, y'all watching me, and you know my life is a lot better than your life. I am not the one sitting up here trying to cyber stalk and bully somebody. And then I had told that to one of the dudes, like, stop. He told me I'm too old to be having imaginary friends. Or when I called him a demon. He said demons aren't real and you're too old to be having imaginary friends. And I said, you way too old to be sitting up here cyberbullying, cyber stalking somebody. Yeah. And I said, and stop jacking off to me. And after that, it's almost like their energy became rigid, like he felt embarrassed and ashamed, like, damn, how she know that? And then I ain't get no more response, because at one point he was just going back to back to back trying to message me, like send comments. And I wasn't gonna talk to him no more after that, but he ain't say nothing else, surprisingly. And then somebody gonna ask me, do I astral project? I'm still wondering if I should answer that or not. But anyways, yeah, guys. So basically, I'm just making this video to kind of remind people to be wise about the choices you make financially, because when it comes down to it, even for those of you who don't think that you're being gang stalked, I didn't think I was being gang stalked for at least 5 years of the 7 that I know for sure that I was being gang stalked. And because I just brushed it off and I ignored a lot of what happened. But the more I started realizing what was going on, they tried to, like, somebody had used the phrase up the ante. I'm like, damn. So it got way progressively worse, and that's when the deaths started happening in my family, which I know were sacrifices. And one of them, I think, was a backfire, not a sacrifice. So unfortunately, man, it was not easy. So that's why I'm like, y'all can say whatever you want to, baby. You don't know what I went through. Like, some of y'all, that's why when you come at me with those little mouthy attacks, they don't matter to me the way you want them to matter, because I know what I've been through and what God has brought me through. So I'm like, bye. Say what you want, baby, because that don't mean nothing. That don't even sting. And if I'm a real ass woman, so if something does affect me, I'm opening up. I ain't trying to hide nothing. Oh, some stuff, of course, I don't need to say it, but whatever I do share, for some of you who feel like sometimes I overshare, too bad, because some people, they got help from other people. I've gotten help from other people deciding to overshare some stuff that most people wouldn't necessarily share, but it was actually wound up being very helpful to me, and I was grateful for that person opening up and sharing something personal in their life. Um, because there's a lot of people out here, like those fake flexers, that want to stunt on somebody, and when you find out what they did to get what they got, then it almost like tarnishes the appearance of what they did to acquire the material item that they acquired or stole. So yeah. um Anyways, the dude didn't get what I meant. So do you guys get what I'm talking about on this little whole ordeal about the sale? Like, why spend, even though I have the money to pay for that and just let them go ahead and do it? But it was the principle about them pretending that they were giving me some sort of deal, and I already spoke to him that same day and told him that it was around the same price, but he tried to use the vibe as the tool to get me to see that buying with them was better, even though it was around the same amount. And I was like, $9 shy, and even with the discount he gave me, it still wound up being around the same amount. And then there was one thing I had said. I realized that he thought that I wasn't gonna go with car toys and I was gonna go back to outrageous audio. I'm like, you don't control and tell me what the fuck I'm gonna do. Sorry, I wasn't gonna say that at first, but then I kind of just let it go ahead and finish slipping out. Excuse me. So and that's what he get, because then I even said something about because he was saying something like, well, that's all I wanted to know, I was just asking. I was like, well, I forgot exactly what he had said to make me say this last phrase that I said, but I had said, well, that's why I asked for my money back, and when I came and asked for my money back and I tried to give you the money back, plus what you more than what you gave me, because when he gave me the $3, I was trying to give him six, and then I was like, "It should even if you decline and rejected the money I tried to give you, all you had to do was give me my money back, and it should have been no questions asked then." And when I said that, he saw I was getting serious too, like, "Oh well, excuse me," and I was saying the same thing. Because you interrupt me when I was talking, explaining to you why it wasn't a good idea. Because I understand you're in business to make money, and I know it could be like disappointing when you feel like you got the sale and then all of a sudden, that's happened to me before in the past. It's life, it's part of when you're selling. So you should be used to it already. You've been working there for I don't know how long and doing that. From what I talked to you about, you've been doing that kind of work for some years. So it shouldn't be nothing new about, I guess maybe he got in his pride and thought he was just so good that nobody would, he had the deal locked in, that there's no going back just because I made the payment. But I didn't have anybody start on the installment or do anything. Y'all already had the parts there. It's not like you had to order them and wait for them to come. They was already in the store. The dude, in any way, it saved. He said, he started even trying to say, we get plenty of business in the store. Oh yeah, that's what he said. He was like, well, I'm just giving you your money back, it's no big deal. We get plenty of business in this store. I said, I know. That's why you should have just gave me my money back when I asked for it back, and it should have been no questions asked. And even if he's going to answer, and I said that because when I was trying to answer the questions and even explain to him before he at Car Toys even asked me those questions, I was already trying to explain, and he was cutting me off. I'm like, dude, and I already knew he was going to do that because he was emotionally tied to that sale, like of someone that was probably, because most people, they probably make payments anyways, not just outright pay the stuff. That's why the first thing he thought I was going to do, probably because I'm this melanated color, he thought I was going to go straight to making a payment. That's what happens when you misjudge situation. It might be a learning lesson for him, and that's why I'm making this video, because hopefully it can also like get other people to think differently about situations when they're doing business. Like, don't be so emotionally tied to it. And it's understandable if you are, but like if you're gonna be like snappy and sort of like rude to the customer who wants their money back, and if you get plenty of business, you shouldn't have given me the hassle that you gave me. And you know you did, Travis, because that's why you said what you said was, oh well, I wasn't trying to give you a hard time. You was giving me a hard time, because one, you was cutting me off when I was talking. I was very respectful to you, I was polite, I wasn't raising my voice, I wasn't cursing you out, I was being I had etiquette when I was speaking to you, and I was being ethical and professional with you. I wasn't like disrespectful or anything. And you still was cutting me off because you was just wondering, you was trying to almost force me to change my mind and continue to follow through with the original plan. But I told you I did some thinking about what happened, and it was financially not a good decision at this time. I'd rather have that money sitting in my account for anything else that was more important than me putting music in the car. And I said, in fact, I seen how at times, a couple times, it was a blessing that I didn't have the radio installed after that dude effed it up, because I was able to hear certain things that was going on around me instead of blasting my music up. But sometimes y'all know how it is when you listen to your music, you be in your zone, you be like, yeah. But I have this Bluetooth speaker here, and I was like, I could have it done cheaper if I patiently wait till one of my associates or acquaintances get back from a funeral and put money in his pocket for him to just hook it up real quick. I don't even need it all souped up with a deck plate and all that stuff. I just want the music to play with the bass in the background. So until then, I'll just go get a better Bluetooth speaker that's cost way less, and it's easy install. All I have to do is hook it up to the Bluetooth and stick it right on in that little slot where the radio should be at. And guess what? I can easily just take it right on out of the car back upstairs with me where nobody can steal it. Toodles.